Yeah, it's me, Matt from Diazable, coming at you with some new album reviews. And I'm super excited because I get to talk about Full of Hell with their latest album, Coagulated Bliss. Now, if you don't know anything about this band, they are a grindcore, metal, noisecore, power violence, just everything like heavy and negative wrapped into one little package band and everything. And they have members from all over like the East Coast of the US and everything. And they've been grinding it out for about like more than 15 plus years now. And they've released over 30 like album splits, EPs in that span of time. They're one of the hardest working bands ever. And I feel really dumb saying this, but I didn't know that they came to Korea and played in like 2017 while I was here. I'm kind of mad I missed them here. But yeah, we're going to talk about this latest album from Full of Hell and just all the nonsense that goes along with it. So let's get into it. They start things off really like in Full of Hell fashion with like really tight, fast drumming, vocals that are really brutal and vicious, very intense and vibrant sounds. But I will say there's a notable difference in like the guitar work here. It has like a very like lighter sound than what they usually do, but still has that raw sound to them and everything. So great opening track. Here you got some more deep and hollow style drums that create like a nice groovy sound over this whole track. The riffs have a very distorted and catchy feel to it, which is dope and everything. And I'm really impressed by Dylan's vocals here. Like he can really do this wide wailing scream for a really long time. He can really hold a note, and it's very impressive. And I would say that it kind of reminds me in terms of like black metal style vocals, which I don't think they normally do, but he does them really well. And at the end of the song, there's some really deep bass here that just sounds so good. So I want to play a clip of Doors to Mental Agony. It's got a weird like unevenness to it, but also like some catchiness to it in a weird way. You got some raw and beefy sounding riffs here with some really, really tight playing from the drums again, and also some extra tight drum fills. They sound really good. The bass is extra nice and thick here, and the vocals are ranging from like really high up from like heaven and really low from like the pits of hell. Very dynamically different here. Here they're introducing some like industrial elements with some harsh and deep sounding synths that really help break up the album in terms of like sounding different. Has a bit of a more slower and menacing sound to it with the big bold drums and everything. His vocals, hella demonic sounding, just sounding really nasty. And there's like this really like hypnotic drowning riff in the background. It just sounds really good. And then there's some big pounding sounds at the end. They're just huge and massive, and it just sounds great. So I'm gonna play a clip of Fractured Bonds to Mecca. So menacing. Some of the guitar riffs here kind of remind me of Every Time I Die in terms of how like they sound and everything. Overall, it's a simple and kind of a plain song, but they sound really refreshing here. The drums are hitting really hard, and this track is a little bit more slowed down than what they are normally known for, but it does a good job of showing off the production because everything sounds clear as day. This track has like a big like wall of sound that just hits you with everything they got, and just like everything's ringing out in a cool way. It reminds me of a new band I discovered called Meth in terms of like that wall of sound. And on this track, the layering of all the instruments and everything sounds great. You can hear every little detail on this track, like the buzzing from the bass. It just sounds cool as fuck and everything. And like there's certain parts of the song that linger a little bit longer than other parts, and it creates like a new interesting sound that just gives the song a nice pacing and everything. The vocals here are very, very powerful, and the riffs go really hard. But overall, the song's a little bit messy at times, and the drums do feel a little bit flat. So it's like a pretty good song, just a few hiccups here and there. Riffs on this track kind of remind me of the previous track in terms of just sounding really sick and everything, and just intense. The vocals go really deep here, and they're just like fucking disgusting. They sound amazing. The bass has a really heavy sound here, and it just sounds really layered well in the mix and everything. The drums, interestingly enough, I feel like they're not using drumsticks. They're using some kind of other item to create a new sound that I can't really pinpoint what it is. So with that being said, I want to play a clip of Schizonoid Rupture. Very nice. You have some really weird riffs and a lot of experimentation on this track, but there's more of a groove here and everything. Some odd synths in the middle of the track to like break things up a bit, and some weird vocal effects. I would say this is probably the most unorthodox song and like ideas on this album, and I think they're able to pull it off pretty well. Very erratic, very full of hell in terms of like fast riffs with huge vocals and fast drumming. But I will say I think they might go a little bit too far or a bit too overzealous with their sound of being erratic because it gets a little messy. They have some really cool like spacey like riffs here to start the song off and everything, and has like a slow and blistering build to it and everything. The bass and drums really take charge here and just like stand out very well. And at times it sounds like, are they hitting like a metal roof, I think? Like there's a weird like backing noise that I couldn't really figure out when I was listening to it, but it was very interesting. Lots of stop and go playing that gives the song like a huge, like massive feel, I feel. This song's a little bit messy and all over the place, especially with the guitars and the drums and everything, but it has a really good feel to it a bit. The vocals have a really good like high scream sound here that sounds nice. And then they calm things down with some really distorted guitars. I would say the first half of the song is really like messy, but the second half has a bit more focus and tameness to it that lets some real raw energy come out of it. Full of Hell is back with another album that's filled with chaos, ambience, confusion, and overall just bliss is the best way I can describe it. Because this, I guess you could say, grindcore band is just pushing the limits of their sound and everything by making some raw and intense music here that also has some very good like I would say content to it and everything. And for being a noisy band and everything, it's not that easy just to create noise. They are very particular with their choices and what they do in making music in terms of like lyrics, like riffs, drums. I don't think they're just throwing shit just to throw shit and just seeing what happens. Everything here on this album has been crafted in a nice, like careful way and everything. Nothing feels wasted, nothing feels bloated. They're doing what they need to do in each song and getting out really quick because all the songs are pretty short, under 2 minutes, and they just are like on the go and just make everything sound really good, and they just don't waste time. They have really good distorted guitars that are really erratic and nice, raw vocals that have some really highs and some really lows in terms of like his delivery and everything, fast and tight drumming, and just really like great thick bass and everything. And what really is great about this album, they keep pushing themselves into new territories with industrial, like ambient noise, more pulled back music, but they keep pushing forward and they keep reinventing themselves, I think, with each album, with every release. And that's not an easy thing to do. But I would say most bands couldn't do what Full of Hell do, because Full of Hell is just Full of Hell. They're very impressive and talented musicians and everything, and it really pays off here. And you can tell just by how good this album is. And I think, yeah, there's like barely anything on here that's not too bad or anything, minus some erratic playing that might be a little bit overboard, but overall it just fits well with Full of Hell style. So I would say this newest album. Oh, and another thing, the production, clear as day. They sound, for being so noisy and everything, you can hear everything, and that's super impressive. Like, I don't know how you can be so noisy, but yet so clear at the same time. Very good job on that. So this newest album from Full of Hell, I would say, is a really good, strong 9 out of 10. Yeah, links down below. Check them out. I'm Matt from Diazable, doing things, having fun. Tell me what you thought about this album and whatever I got going on over here. And until next time, guys, bye.
Even when you're gone, I'll tell them my religion's you. When punctures